Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Girlfriend Doctor Show. Happy New Year. I'm really excited for this year. I've been leaning into visioning, planning, mindfulness, stepping into my miracle mornings. If you guys haven't seen the Miracle Morning documentary, really powerful, really powerful. So, Amira, it's so good to have you back on the show with me. We're ready for some more Q&A. How was
Yeah.
your Christmas? Did you get everything you wanted?
Christmas was great. I got everything and more just by spending time with family and my niece and nephews. Just overall great. But I also, the holiday season can create stress and positivity. So, one question I wanted to ask you as my mother and not my OB-GYN, but adjacent is like throughout the holidays, there's stress. And then in December, I went through a really stressful month with a
Mhm.
friend, and that, like, usually my cycles have been on time, and now my cycle is like 4 days late. And that's something that is really interesting to see because your body is just, it absorbs everything that you're going through. And then I know you have told me, but also to like kind of tell some of your listeners that maybe having, daughters or even those that are still cycling to dealing with this, like stress that is, stress delays your cycle and what you can do about that to get it back on. And it's, it's scary, but it's also like the most beautiful thing that your body is telling you. And then it's like, I need to detoxify already, like detoxify those emotions, detoxify the toxins that I've been absorbing throughout this like emotional time. But being with family is the most like, is the thing that increases my oxytocin, is what's going to balance me back. And yeah,
Yeah.
just kind of your
Well,
input and guidance on that.
Well, thank you for asking me. When you say toxic emotions or toxins that you're
Hmm.
getting, what are those toxins?
Like the emotional toxins or like the actual, like, what?
What else? What are some other toxins that could
um,
be disrupting? What do you know that are toxins? You're like, you know what? This isn't good for me. This is toxic to me.
well, it's definitely the stress. So like the stress of having to kind of, I'll lift this up a little bit. The stress of just, sometimes friendships are not always meant to last, or you have a friend that is requiring a lot more of you, or sometimes that's family. And that is the stressful part of like coming up onto the holiday season. And, a lot of people are wanting more of you than what you can provide. And the most important thing that I've been learning for myself is like how to create those boundaries.
Hmm.
Boundaries with you, boundaries because we work together and we also, we're family. Like that's important to set those boundaries, but most importantly, setting those boundaries with your friends and family and learning the balance between your emotion and your emotional and your logical side.
And you know that setting boundaries is very therapeutic for the other party too,
Yeah.
right?
It's
It's
stress.
very therapeutic because
Mm,
one thing, it sounds like you've been pulled in many directions.
yeah.
And then your heart hurts because you aren't able to help your friend out of her trauma drama, right? And that's hard because you see the consequences and you've been there time and time again. So it's not the first time that you've essentially rescued her. So I think with what I've seen you do though during this time is create some healthy boundaries. And that's powerful. Like
Yeah.
I did a podcast with um, Nana Lay. We talked about the barbed wire boundary, the wood boundary, like as in a wood fence. Sorry about that. The wood boundary. And we talked about the rose petal boundaries. So these you can have a barbed wire boundary, a wood boundary, and that will bend a little. You can look over a wood boundary, but you're not going to come near
Mm,
a barbed wire boundary, and then a rose petal boundary, and more soft boundaries. That when you think of this, okay, you create these boundaries and stand by them. It's hard. I think it's harder for women than men to set these boundaries.
mm,
And it's hard when you're really empathetic and care and love someone to set really strong, firm boundaries. One thing that we've learned in the 58 years of my life and I'm working with some of the best therapists, I think, in the world, is that we are the only one who can upset ourselves, right? That is a rule of thumb. We choose how to react. We are the only one who can upset ourselves. So always checking on that point
Yeah.
and recognizing that we help others by helping ourselves, by setting those boundaries, being really clear
Mhm.
and firm regarding those boundaries. And in that
Yeah.
way, they they know what to
Mhm.
expect and they can stop trying to barge down your boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been the biggest thing and like the most helpful for me too. And it's the moment that you do set those boundaries and then the other person does receive that as well. You know, sometimes they won't, they'll resist. And then, but then the moment that you just do and it just comes natural where you're just immediately, okay, I hear you, but I can't be there right now. Like, I have to focus on work, I have to focus on myself right now, and then to be able to be there for them later. And that's been like a breath of fresh air for me too, to just be able to do that because usually I would be on the phone for hours to just
And you have
listen
been, yeah.
and then, yeah. And then to just consume, like you're consuming that. Even your like our oldest sister Brittany, she was a massage therapist, and we have our other sisters that are also like Sarah's a therapist, and when you're hearing
God
all,
sisters, yeah.
yeah, you are consuming this energy from someone else, and you have to find a way to detoxify it. You have to find a way to release it. And it's so wild when you're like focusing on that and the emotional aspect of like detoxify it, and then your body is reflecting that. Your body's also saying, hey, like you have been enduring a lot and there's a clog, not only emotionally, but physically, where I can't even like shed my uterine lining right
Have your
now. Like,
period. Your body's
yeah.
holding on to that stress. And that's a good validation that you
Mm-hmm.
are stressed, right?
Yeah.
Like this is affecting you physically.
Mm-hmm.
And in
It's
so
not
many
just in my
ways,
head.
as much as you've helped or unable to help in other ways, this
Yeah.
is affecting your physical health.
Yeah.
And that's key. And I think there are a few reasons too during the holidays where your periods can get a little irregular. One
Mm-hmm.
is certainly stress, good and bad stress can affect our menstrual cycles. And
That's
the other is, so physical stress can affect our menstrual cycles because we're pushing out cortisol, and that means we make cortisol from, do you know?
we make cortisol from stress.
From
Oh.
progesterone, progesterone hormone. Yes, we
Sorry.
do.
I
So
put quizzing.
quizzing. So making cortisol from our progesterone hormone, and progesterone's needed to help organize the endometrial lining, that second phase of our cycle, the luteal phase. And so
Mm-hmm.
we're not making that progesterone. Number one, we get a regular cycle. Either we skip a period, or it's delayed, or it's heavier than normal, and
Yeah.
or we have breakthrough bleeding. Other reasons that indicate low progesterone is also associated with brain fog, mood swings, irritability, moodiness. All of that can come into play at the same time, and so you're experiencing those things. It's a real physical phenomenon, not enough progesterone. So we're going to boost that up by supporting your adrenals.
Mm.
So for you, it's like extra mighty maca.
Yeah.
We'll put on some balance cream for the cycle to your period starts and
Okay.
help you in that way. But more importantly, it's things to address the boundaries that you have with your friends. And
Mm-hmm.
the one thing, I heard this in a boundaries group with Dr. Deborah Temmer out in St. Simon's Island. We were doing small groups, and one of the clients said, "Not my monkey, not my circus." She goes, "I have to keep reminding myself that, not my monkey, not my circus. Like I cannot get into their mess." And that's a helpful, and it's kind of a fun way to twist it. Makes you smile when you do that, which is a good physiologic reset. But it's also so true. It's also so true. There's only so much. And then you have to be healthy. The second reason periods can shift is if you have girlfriends visiting you and staying in your house, or you have all your family. For me, when my daughters would come back, I mean, it would be like my cycle would shift to their cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So it would get irregular, and then everyone would be on their menses at the same time. So,
Yeah.
being around other girlfriends too that are cycling at different levels. Sometimes that will affect your period too. So there's other hormonal
I
consequences as
know
well.
but that's completely different when you like when you notice that from family, because of course when all the sisters in the house at the same time, oof, it's like a lion's cage in there. But when we all are on, then you know, like when you're around a friend for a long time, you're like, okay, like when do you start? Are we starting at the same time? Then you know, like your body is just trying to sync up with someone else. It's like what is the science behind that? Like, why is it like
Why
when
they stink up?
yeah, like when
Yeah,
menstruators are in a close proximity or spend a lot of time together, like,
it's pheromones.
yeah,
And hormones are energetic molecules.
okay,
So there's that wavelength that syncs. And it's really interesting. We don't have a clear understanding in science as to yet. I think we have to get into the quantum physics to really understand that. But, hormones are energetic messengers as well as chemical messengers. So they will sync with those around you. And you sense someone's energy often before you really
mm,
sense them and get to know them. You have to trust those feelings too sometimes. So
yeah,
I would just,
absolutely. It's like the gut instinct, especially for a
mhm.
lot of women, that you need to have that gut reaction to things, or you know how it's almost like our hormones are like empaths in a sense. They have that heightened sensitivity to others around them, and they're able to, feel the other person around them, or whether it's positive or negative or balancing.
Yeah. And I
And
think it's just, communicate. And it's always with communication. Hormones are communicating, and your hormones in times of stress, if your period's late, it's communicating, whoa,
mhm,
I'm really stressed out. The beauty is that your body's like making your stress hormones to protect you. And then the other check is, okay, now how do I get more into my oxytocin? And that reminds me, when you said tigers in the house, that's when I'm making everyone mighty maca shots and
mhm,
keto-green smoothies and, really focusing on cleaning up the sugar in the environment too,
mhm.
because that adds stress.
I know. Brittany's our more feisty sister, and every time it's like a unspoken unspoken method. In the morning, if we're both on our cycle, she'll make her mighty maca with apple cider vinegar, won't even talk to me, just give me the shot. We'll both take a shot, be in our own space for a moment, reconnect with ourselves, and then be able to be in each other's space, because that's a lot for, like,
Yeah. And starting your morning, say like, the way
starting
you
your
start your
mornings.
morning sets you up for the day. And a healthy, good night's sleep starts with a healthy morning routine.
Hmm.
And I just watched the Miracle Morning documentary
I need to
based
watch it.
on how Elrod's life and his success in overcoming traumatic injuries and also traumatic diagnosis of leukemia. And through this, but he created this morning he called the miracle morning. He looked at what were the habits.
Sorry, I had to sneeze.
It's
Okay.
okay. He looked at what were the top habits of highly successful people, and he wrote down these 6 habits. And first it was he starts his morning at 5 a.m. in with a practice of
Mm,
silence or meditation, and then he calls them savers. So S for silence, A for affirmations, and he goes into his affirmations. I am strong. I am productive. I am kind. I'm a good father. I'm all these things goes into the affirmations. And then um, V is visualizations and really feeling the visualization. Science has shown us that feeling, getting the sense like if I imagine myself on horseback and riding with my girls and grandchildren, everyone on horses are at the ranch. And then after a nice day like that, getting into the kitchen and cooking together, I kind of can just feel the joy of that. For me, that
mhm,
is like, I can feel that. That is part of my visualization
mhm,
to feel that health, that vibrancy, that love, that connection more than anything. That like sets my physiology off. And I start my day even before I open my eyes with my um, these 3 questions I ask myself based on St. Ignatian philosophy. And it is one, where did I see love yesterday? Where did I see love? Where did I feel love? Where was I love? And the second is, what am I grateful for? And run through a list of things that I'm grateful for in the moment and through the day yesterday. So reflecting first thing before I open my eyes. And the third is,
Mhm.
where did I laugh, or could I have laughed at myself more, or situation more, or others? Where could I have brought more laughter in? And those are all three things that increase oxytocin. So the miracle morning, he goes through silence, affirmations, visualization. Then E is exercise. Exercise, and how important exercise is, like getting a movement routine in, going for a run, doing a yoga practice, doing something in the morning, setting off that
Mhm.
day. And you'll have to watch the documentary or read the book to get the other two. So, but I think it's so powerful. It's how we start our day sets the tone for everything.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, so and I know we've got lots of questions, Amira, that have come in, and you guys have sent in more questions for our menopause Q&A. But I think
Mhm.
that, we think reflect now as we're starting a new year, we want to lean into 2025 in the best health with high hopes and excitement and anticipation of all many good things to come, right? And it's hard when you're struggled with difficult relationships, when there's, safety or concern or relationship troubles that are happening. And the times of the holidays, this is the time those relationship troubles really surface, because usually cortisol is winning and oxytocin is losing. And that's when, even with all the practices that I have, I am very aware when I'm slipping into depression, and I have to lean into those morning practices. I have to lean into practices of gratitude and doing things that I enjoy to slip myself out of that tendency at this time of year for depression. I mean, I lost my mother, my father, my son, and it's painful at this time of the year. And then leaning into all the blessings to be with my daughter, my granddaughter, all my daughters, and to have, to feel really blessed, to have a good community, a strong community that, you know is part of our story. It makes a difference, be able to lean in and focus on the positives. And it can still be a challenge, but it is truly a practice. In our magic menopause group, while Amira is pulling up some questions, in our magic menopause group, we had a client who was really struggling. She's like, not losing weight. I'm, having a real hard time, and I've been having a hard time for years. Everything I've tried doesn't work. And I can see a couple things. One is that, she really is upset with herself, right? And that's tragic to see. Where it's fascinating that when the Dalai Lama came to the US the first time, to Silicon Valley, he was giving a talk, and one of the participants in the talk, all high level achievers and entrepreneurs and individuals, and someone asked, well, how do you deal with self hatred? And the Dalai Lama was asked, had to ask his interpreter for 15 minutes to try to understand, what do you mean self-hatred? I mean, how can you have self-hatred? I mean, it's such a hard concept. And the Dalai Lama really was in a state of such sadness to hear that we experience, or in America, that with all this opportunity experiencing self-hatred. And he's like, what has happened in the community to create needs to get happiness from other things, to buy things, to do things, to versus to have that happiness within you. So it was a real hard concept for him to understand. So I recognized it in this client. And then I was looking at her labs, her Dutch test labs, and her cortisol, like from the moment her feet hit the ground in the morning, was sky high. And that is a very high stressed physiology. It's a very high stress physiology. There's very low oxytocin in that environment. There's low self love, and self love is the highest frequency. It really is our highest frequency. Self love and compassion, it's a powerful drug. And within our body, which has the most incredible pharmacy in the world, right? There's no better corner pharmacy than our body's own natural pharmacy. We have the ability to make those happy chemicals. So the oxytocin, the serotonin, the dopamine, the anandamides, we have that ability within us. So I want to encourage you, if you're struggling, starting with that gratitude practice, shifting your actions and your mindset to a positive right in the beginning. And I want to know what yours are. Again, I'm on this journey with you. So definitely comment below this podcast or message my team at drannakabeca.com and let me know, or wherever you're on, wherever you connect with me on my website, social media, Facebook. I want to hear from you. Where did what do you do to achieve that kickstart for your day, to set your foot in the right next step right off in the morning?
Hmm.
Yeah. So,
And also, the Dalai Lama's first trip was in New York City, by the way,
oh,
fact
okay.
checking.
Well, then when he was in Silicon Valley was the
Okay.
story. And I heard it from a video of Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. She relayed that story.
I was just fact checking
Mm.
you. Okay, but for questions. So I wanted to kind of start off with, because we're in the new year and talking about routines, and we have one question about, they would really love to know what type of foods you eat throughout the day on a daily basis and while incorporating all of your supplements and protein shakes. I know you are currently on a 36-hour dry fast.
Oh, I'm at 42 hours now of a dry fast. Let
So,
me explain what a dry fast is. A dry fast is no water, no food. So, to answer that question,
no
nothing.
showering.
Well, yeah, I did brush my teeth. However, some people are very extreme on dry fasting and
Mm-hmm.
don't even brush their teeth. But dry fasting is no water, nothing to eat by mouth, or, uh, nothing to eat by mouth or drink by mouth. And it's a very extreme fast. It's practiced in certain religions. In the month of Ramadan, Muslims will dry fast from sunrise to sunset. And
Mm-hmm.
research has shown, actually in Texas at Baylor University, research looked at the effects of the Ramadan fast, dry fasting, and it showed improvements in all cardiometabolic markers. So that's your cholesterol, that's your blood
Mm-hmm.
pressure, that's your blood sugar. All of those improve significantly by doing that fasting from sunrise to sunset. And that's part of a religious practice. In the Catholic and Greek Orthodox Catholic denominations, we fast during Easter, right? There's certain fasting. There's no meat on Wednesdays and Fridays. There's, abstinence of some of the luxuries of life, etc., during that 40-day Lenten fast. And it's a tradition that I grew up with. But why I'm fasting now at this time is, one is I will fast and pray when I have a difficult decision to make, when I'm faced with
Mm-hmm.
difficult situations and questioning things. And, I'll tell my patients too, fast and pray. You can water fast, bone broth fast, keto-green shake fast. You can do all those. Sometimes I do the extreme fast. It's not my first time. This is probably my fifth time doing a extended dry fast. And, I'm just listening to my body and deciding, okay, when will I reintroduce fluids,
Mm-hmm.
etc. But fasting has long been used for healing modalities. Way back in the early 19th century in Russia, one of the, don't even ask me who, from a czarist family in Russia, had been studying the effect of dry fasting on psychiatric illness and schizophrenia specifically, and had found benefits. And then also in cancers and other diseases. Dry fasting, as we've known with water fasting, certainly, and intermittent fasting, that it activates autophagy so that our healthy cells will kill off the unhealthy cells, and that can empower your body in so many ways. So there are many reasons to fast. I have some good articles on my website about it. And when we do our Keto Green 16 challenge, which we're in the midst of, at the time this is released, we're in the midst of our Keto Green 16 challenge. You can find it on Facebook at Keto Green 16 challenge, and certainly just message my team if you want to join us now. But when we do the Keto Green 16 challenge, the last 3 days of the challenge is an option to fast. And I give you an option of bone broth and keto green shakes, water fasting, or not your mama's cabbage stew fasting. We do a different type of cleansing because it can be very, very healing. It will
Yeah.
make a really big difference.
Apparently, it was Professor Yuri Serge Nikolaev, director of the fasting treatment unit of Moscow Psychiatric Institute, has fasted many thousands of mentally ill patients for 25 to 30 days without fatalities.
It's good to know they didn't
Okay.
die and they fasted for 25 to 30 days. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure of the methodology there. I'm not recommending 25 to 30 days of fasting. There certainly
Mm-hmm.
are. Dr. Fung has talked about extended water fasting, 30 days, especially with diabetes, etc. I mean, it is
Mm-hmm.
it is a tool for longevity. It certainly is a tool for longevity. So
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so
So as
that's
far as
amazing.
what to like on a typical day, I start the day with a tall glass of water at my bedside and then a shot of Mighty Maca, either hot or cold. And like I like to drink Mighty Maca slowly in the winter as a hot tea. So I'll put that in or I'll drink a shot of Mighty Maca with some apple cider vinegar or lemon juice if I want to add that in. And then I'll have a cup of coffee typically and go about my morning exercise. I typically exercise from 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning and then a break fast with a good keto green meal. So it could
Mm-hmm.
be uh, now more than, especially during the work week, it's usually a keto green shake. And in my shake, I'm adding 2 scoops of my keto green powder, another scoop of Mighty Maca. I'm adding any greens that I have in the fridge. So I may add some celery, some cucumber, some ginger to that. And I will add, if I have avocado, a quarter slice of avocado. They're not in season right now for us, so no avocado. And I can add a little bit of berries or fruit. Sometimes I don't because I just don't want any more carbohydrates. I'll add a tablespoon of phosphatidylcholine to help with cell membrane health. So adding that in my shake and yeah, and I may add some additional creatine. I may add some additional collagen into that shake. I mean, it is a powerful shake in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll gets me going.
Just
Then I'm at
starts your
my
day.
computer working, in Teams or
Mm-hmm.
I head off to the clinic, doing something like that. And I like to have a keto green meal for lunch. So usually I like salmon with greens, all different kinds of vegetables, and hot in the winter, cold in the summer sometimes, or a nice soup. I would typically eat something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Not
for
your
dinner,
mama's
it's
cabbage soup.
steak and vegetables. A lot of cruciferous vegetables for the hormonal health. So cauliflower rice or cauliflower mash is so yummy. And whatever vegetables are in season, I like to slice them up and saute them and have that with a good piece of steak or fish or chicken, all organic. Really picky about what I'm bringing into the house and making because there is a certain amount that I eat out and I'm not so picky. But when
Mm-hmm.
I'm at home, I'm really careful of what types of meats, etc., that I bring in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are your like supplements that you take every
Okay.
day? Yeah.
Yeah. So in general, I take my Mighty
And do you
Maca
rotate them
and
any?
yeah, I do. I do rotate and typically seasonally. Now we're in the winter months. So I take vitamin D 10,000 IUs a day.
Mm-hmm.
I always take CoQ10 and creatinine because that is, sorry, I take, go back up. So typically I take Mighty Maca pretty much every day. And now we're in the winter months, so I take vitamin D 10,000 IUs per day. And I will take carnitine and CoQ10 on a regular basis for cardiac and metabolic health. I take that. I've added in phosphatidylcholine and NMN by Wonderfeel. I take NMN per day. And um, omega 3s, always take an additional omega 3, again, for cardiac health, decrease inflammation, good skin, all that good stuff. So, omega 3s are really essential for me, and vitamin C and zinc. So, those are a combination of things that I take. And on a regular basis, I have my Superwoman packs that puts a lot of that together with digestive
Mm-hmm.
enzymes and some uh, joint support supplement too. That's in that combination in Superwoman packs. And then and then I'll add in the NMN and phosphatidylcholine separately. But and pretty much I will like rotate in other supplements as I continue to learn about different ones. So Urolithin A by Timeline, I like that supplement a lot. And I use NAD patches by Ion Layer periodically. Maybe it's a
Mm-hmm.
couple times a month, not every week per se, but every once in a while I'll get into using that more regularly, especially when I'm working out harder. So the NAD patches. You can also take niacinamide, which also is great for the immune system and cardiovascular health. I like enzymes too. And the reminder, I'm saying this out loud because I have a reminder to get myself some serapeptase, which is a great enzyme that used to help with menstrual flow and decrease menstrual pain. It's a really good supplement. So serapeptase is good for that, and myomin is good for estrogen detoxification. And our product Zenful is key with a combination of ingredients such as DIM and um, calcium D-glucarate and other nutrients that really help with estrogen detoxification. So that's powerful. Another product I rotate in is the Oncoplex. It's in my Superwoman packs. If I'm not taking my Superwoman packs, I usually will rotate in some of the Oncoplex, which is SGS. It's sulforaphane glucosinate. And what that has been shown to do is to help with viruses, to decrease HPV, warts, skin tags, helps to support estrogen detoxification, so associated with decreased risk of breast cancer, HPV, and it's a really good product to add. So my clients, when they have skin tags or an abnormal pap, always put them on the Oncoplex supplement. So I rotate that in
Mm-hmm.
too. Yeah, so
Wonderful.
enzymes are really important. Like adding in serapeptase, but also again, just as part of the food recommendations, having bitters, ginger, chewing on ginger before your meal, a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar with your meal is so important to support digestion.
Mm-hmm.
Because, if you're on, a omeprazole or Propulsid or Prolosec or any of those medications, that's affecting your body's ability to absorb nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
So
Whether you like ACV or not, it's still proven
apple
to
cider
have great
vinegar.
benefit,
Yep.
great health benefits. What about skincare? Like I know you have your balance and your Jolva, and this wasn't really a question asked submitted for our podcast, but we get that a lot through our customer service team.
Hmm.
Is how are you rotating your Jolva and your balance in any other
Oh.
skincare routine? Because you do have like your hormonal creams, which
Mhm.
is your balance, and then you also have your losogens, right? Your what are they called? The little yeah,
Troches. So,
excuse me,
yeah.
the troches. But how are you like balancing those and incorporating it?
So, like, and then I had this question today with a
Mm-hmm.
client who I saw recently, and she wants to do everything for longevity, and she's got all this skincare stuff, and then we started on some hormones, and she's like, "Okay, I'm using your balance cream, and I'm using the E3 methylene blue product that." She has and these other skin serums. She's trying to rotate. She's like, okay, well, what do I use when? And I'm like, that is a really good question. And I think with the balance cream, it is part of a daily routine. Just take one day off a week or 3 to 5 days off per month because I want your receptor sites to stay open and, to respond well to the hormones in there as well. And because of the tripeptide, that's anti-aging. So that helps. So face, skin, rotate the places you're using it. And then with other serum, and typically that's great to use at night or in the daytime, and you can use it before or after any of your other creams or lotion. So getting into that routine, typically serums should go on first if you're using like a hyaluronic lotion or a type of skin serum. Aura, it's how's that spelled? OURA makes a glutathione skin treatment. And those, just put them on first. It's fine to layer them after, but usually I'll say those serums, those clear, rapid dissolve liquids, put those on first and then do your others. For Julva lips, that's regular on the lips. So before you apply your makeup and
Mm-hmm.
evening before you go to bed, it's a great time to use that.
A nice
And
serum.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And so it becomes like, figuring out what works best for you in that ritual and what skincare routine. I have to keep things simple. And it's one of the reasons that I created the creams I did to be skincare, because you want to make sure they work. So that I don't have to add all these other skincare routines into my
Mm-hmm.
schedule. But I'm always playing. I love skincare. I love makeup and different things. So, playing with these is just fun to rotate through. Okay, how do I, what do I like now in this season? What is my skin adapting to now? And yeah, and so yeah,
Well,
there's
we
different ones, and there are some of my favorite skincare creams. We put those in the Christmas um,
hmm there's some
gift
we
guide.
didn't, but Nibu Naturals we did.
I love Nibu Naturals because
Hmm
that's a
Cosmetic
it's
for
a
like.
cosmetics
Hmm
from natural. They use astaxanthin,
hmm
which helps to increase that glow, that like sun-kissed glow on your face, which is really nice, and very clean ingredients.
Or if you're
So
wanting a little bit of blush or bronze, but we also like Sahar
Sahar
Sweetan's
Sudan makes
line,
great.
Tony Yoon's line. Um,
Tony's line is great too, very clean. Again,
hmm
looking at decreasing hormone disruptors. So these are lines I stand behind for
yeah.
sure.
Okay, so this isn't a question, but this is a rave that aligns with what we've been talking about.
Oh.
So, Amanda says, I do appreciate your knowledge and I do a lot and I eat a lot of red meat and real butter along with real salt from Redmond salt. She's balancing her cell tissue salt, zinc, and copper ratio, increasing her vitamin D3 and K2, she's doing magnesium transdermal along with magnesium L, threonate and glycinate before bed with melatonin, your balanced cream and plenty of water with lemon, and increasing my sleep and being able to actually sleep. I'm postmenopausal with my FSH score was 70.3 and now I feel normal again. She loves all of your videos and she's increasing her veggies and fruits and seeds, nuts just like for snacking if she snacks. Lots of beautiful smoothies making and she just loves all your videos. And anyways,
Awesome. Thank you.
that
Thanks
was
for sharing.
just
You guys write in more like that.
yeah,
That makes my
just like
day.
balancing just incorporating all of your like methods and what you're telling people and how that's really benefiting her with eating and also incorporating food as medicine, that's
Mhm.
also beautiful. We will do one more rave and then do some questions. So this is also a rave and a question. So we have, I just discovered your channel as recommended by Cynthia Thurlow and Dr. Mindy Pels. While
Love
you,
those ladies.
while you have added so much to my repertoire of knowledge as a functional nurse, holistic coach specializing in hormone imbalance for women. She is wanting to know if you can talk more on sleep disturbances and hormone imbalance.
Yes, yeah, sleep disturbances and hormone imbalance. So definitely that the whole like setting up a good night's sleep starts with a good morning routine. Things that we know disrupt sleep are eating too close to bedtime. So at least 3 hours before bed, finish your meal. Alcohol disrupts your quality of sleep. Caffeine beyond noon. And if you're having disrupted sleep, I recommend you get rid of the caffeine altogether. For a spell, let's reset your circadian rhythm. The other thing is all the artificial light. The blue light that we see it affects us significantly and can cause disruption. We need blue light first thing in the morning. So when you wake up, get to the window, get the sunlight directly into your eyes, get
Dear
the blue light
sunrise
into your eyes.
salutations,
You
like
can do just even breathing outside. If you can actually get outside and ground, get your feet outside, that's even better. But the blue light from the sun will shut off the melatonin so that now, okay, you're more alert, awake, ready to go through the day. And then in the evening, the red lights from sunlight from the sunset will actually help trigger the increase in melatonin, stimulates the pineal gland to increase that melatonin, and that helps set you into a better night's sleep. But if you are at the same time on your computer, on your smartphone device or you have artificial lights in the house, that is going to disrupt your circadian rhythm. So, resetting your circadian rhythm is really key. I've done a few good podcasts on this, and one is with the founder of Viva Rays, who has gotten into the quantum of light. And we talk about blue light blocking glasses. So, that's a great one. An early podcast I've done with Jack Cruz, a neurosurgeon out of Louisiana originally. Those are excellent podcasts to listen to. We really go into light physiology and circadian physiology. So I encourage you to definitely check out those podcasts. And Wi-Fi is another thing that can disrupt you at night. And I have a sleep ebook on the website. So if you go to my book page, you'll see, double check, but you'll see the sleep ebook and you'll be able to get that. And it's, I think 60 pages or something of good information on resetting your circadian rhythm and getting that restorative night sleep. All the little tricks, tips, red light, weighted blankets, chili pads in the bed, all those good things are are listed out in that book with some good resources
Mm-hmm.
too.
Yeah.
Magnesium, L-threonate, the Night Z capsules that I created were designed to help you get a deep restorative sleep, and progesterone is key to help you
Mm-hmm.
sleep.
Dranna.com/sleep will take you right to the sleep ebook, and it's $7 full of really powerful information, just kind of, you know, reset
Mm-hmm.
and
It's a good information.
balancing.
There may be just fine tuning, triggering it out,
Yeah,
but
there you go.
definitely a good night's sleep starts with a good morning ritual and a good evening ritual.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I know there's always room for improvement on that, like waking up in the morning and not getting on your phone. And yeah, that's a big one. Or
That's a
checking.
big one.
And I've noticed like too, every time I'll like roll over and grab my phone, make sure there's nothing. I try to look out my window because I always open my blinds before I go to bed. So I wake up with the sun too.
Nice.
At least I try. And sometimes it's annoying or I'm like, "Ah, close it. I want to go back to sleep." But also, I found like lately waking up whenever I do go on my phone or I check my Snapchat or I check my Instagram, especially Snapchat. Even this morning, I did roll over and I was on my phone for like a good 15 minutes this morning. Okay. And just looking at other people's faces was really like frustrating for me for a moment. It was weird. Okay, weird to say, but it was because I think it was like looking at other people so early in the morning that wasn't like
Weren't
it was,
family, didn't
but
belong in your
no,
house,
yeah, and
and
it was like
definitely not in your bed.
yeah, and I was like, wait, like I don't want to see your face this early. Like, why am I allowing my eyes to like process this right now? But it's true because, it's, I don't know, it's become it almost like I could almost feel that like cortisol coming down through. It comes out of your pituitary gland, doesn't it?
Adrenals,
Adrenal. Okay. Um,
but stimulated by the pituitary
yeah.
too. Yeah, you got it.
So I always just like it's just showed me right then and there. I just wanted to put on music or a podcast or just like go in my little Therasage sauna or just and consume that red light versus and be in a moment with myself because I became frustrated by that this morning because I was taking away time from myself and putting an energy into these other people to figure out what they're doing in their life versus, and that's not benefiting myself right now. It wasn't my family. It wasn't seeing pictures of my niece or nephew or like seeing them would be more stimulating than seeing other people that it's like, I am interested in your life, but not bright in the morning.
Not the
I was
time.
about to say a bad word, but I was like, I don't know the audience. I was
So,
like,
but think about it. You invited those people into your room, into
yeah,
your
in my
bed,
intimate
into your
moment.
intimate moment. But I think the first key to realizing you've got to do something different is that
Mm-hmm.
awareness, that sense of
Yeah.
frustration. Okay, this is uncomfortable now. I realize this isn't serving me. It is
Mm-hmm.
time to let it go. And that awareness piece is key. We
Yeah.
have this saying at Emory in surgery, eyes don't see what the mind don't know. But now that
Yeah.
your eyes see it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
right? And your mind knows. So you're going to see, okay, I'm not doing this. I'm really making conscious effort. And it takes more than 21 days to make a habit. Whoever said that, I don't know. It definitely takes more than 21 days to set a habit, but just
Yeah.
to continue those disciplines and practice that
Mm-hmm.
serve you
Yeah. And
versus that
slowly,
don't, because
yeah.
definitely,
I know slowly in like incorporating those and no like creating that awareness. I know that's like I feel like that's my biggest like kryptonite where it's that key of awareness where it's like I do know what I am doing is not helpful for my body, but then the fact that I do know and I'm avoiding to change it is more detrimental to myself because my body is fighting me and my body and I we have this relationship where it loves to tell me immediately when something is not right.
yeah.
So even with like what we were talking about in the beginning of the episode of what's happening with me and it's almost like this shut off where I can't even cry right now or it just feels because my body is so drained that if I cry, it feels like I won't stop or I won't know how or and I need that release and I feel like the moment that happens my cycle will start or
Mhm.
just getting myself back into that balance and not waking up and not distracting myself with other things because I don't want to dive into what's happening.
Yeah.
I don't want to dive in with what my emotions are, but I'm trying it's slowly like I'll do my little therapy moments to try to get the emotional and logical side of my brain to kind of balance out because but now I feel like I'm way too far in the logical that I'm not being emotional, but I'm still and I just have to create that balance because that's always what we're looking for is balance in our life.
Well,
I
you
need
want
to
the
use
ups and
balance
the
right now.
balance as in a seesaw. It goes up and down,
Yeah.
up and down. That's key. That's life, highs and lows. And that's exciting. So
Yeah.
we can really appreciate those highs. Now,
Mm-hmm.
but I will say that I've seen you when you went up to the gym and you worked out at 5:30 and then you came over,
Mm-hmm.
you were like so charged,
I
so
know.
focused. And
I
so
know.
it just it's a discipline and practice.
Yeah, I know. I need to get back. Even with Saturday. So, like everything, a lot of things happened Friday. And then Saturday, decided to go ride with my sister and work out her other horse with her. And it's been a while. So, if you're a rider, you know the feeling of when you have not
Ridden
ridden
a
a
horse
horse
for
in
a
a
while.
while, you are hurt. Like even I went to the dentist yesterday and I was like leaning over in the dentist chair with my thighs open to stretch, like leaning over and she was like, "Wow, you're flexible." I was like, "I am in so much pain right now. I have bruises on cuz she's smaller than me. I need a 16-inch saddle. She's in a 14-inch." Anyways, but
But you
I
loved it.
immediately after Ava was tired because she does it every day. I was just full of energy. I was like, my endorphins are pumping, I'm flowing. And then I was just feeling so good because when you work out, it's hard to get to that moment or even
Sometimes for some of us, it
mhm,
definitely is not, yeah, much
not, yeah,
happier when I'm done.
exactly.
Yeah.
And Ava wasn't, and I was. It was like it was different in that moment, but I wanted to be there because horses, they feel your energy before you get on them. I used to, before we moved to Texas, we used to have a mare, and every time as a hormonal teenager, she wouldn't do this with anyone else because she knew I was her person, that if I got on her and I was not in the right mindset, she would start bucking. She would start just not acting
Horses are
appropriately.
amazing at it.
They're,
Equine therapy is so
yes,
good.
absolutely. So then I would have to like almost scream with her or like get off and like just take a moment and then reset and then get back on. She's like, "Okay, you do not come into my space like this." And it would just reset me.
I
And
try to
that
do that with her. It doesn't work.
no, no, no,
So-
no, no. But back to what I was saying earlier is that and then that moment, so right when it was like literally right when I got off the horse, my friend called and went and there was this whole spiral and I had to like it did immediately shift me, but because I had a little bit of like endorphins and I got into a positive space, I was able to set a little bit more of a boundary. And I didn't give her my all. I wasn't just numb and there. I was able to be there, but also be able to set those boundaries with her. And that was definitely so like
You were
exponential.
stronger,
Yeah, it
right? You
was,
had good boundaries. You were able to set that. You were coming from a place of higher,
yeah,
higher purpose, higher energy
yeah.
versus when we are weak. I'm telling you, it's hard to hold those boundaries when we're tired, exhausted,
Mm-hmm.
overworked, underappreciated. So it all comes from within. It really does stem back to that. I am another shout out to the Miracle Morning documentary. That was really, really good. It was good to hear some of the stories and the experience that Hal Elrod went through in his own journey and how he kept positive. And then also other successful leaders in the space were featured in that documentary too, giving their um, s- skills, their advice for achieving that positivity and success and greatness and prosperity that we want. And Elroyd makes a statement at the end. He goes, I was chasing all this success and money and wealth, and I realized that the most important thing were my relationships. And I was sacrificing time with my children and he said, and his wife. And he realized that he was unwilling to sacrifice that anymore. And so really shifted the perspective. So when he adds the savers, R comes to the second R. The first R is relationship. So I think that's really such a is such a key part of everything I do,
Mm-hmm.
community and relationships and having support, having someone to hold you accountable and to support you and to help you
Mm-hmm.
hold those boundaries. It's really important. It's a
Yeah.
sign of strength holding boundaries, not weakness.
Whew. And that you need to say it over and over again because right there, if I could cry, I would right now. Because um that boundaries is a sign of strength
Yeah.
versus weakness. It's not weak to set that boundary.
No,
It's
and
strong.
it's hard,
It's
especially in the situation.
oh no. Sorry, something slid down the stairs. Okay, but do
Well,
you have
I was
any?
just going to say, especially in the
Yeah.
situation, in any situation, but this situation of one of your friends. So, but in any situation, it's a really good example to parallel into other areas of our lives. Where should we be holding better boundaries? Where are we enabling others? And by
Yeah.
having good boundaries, we stop that enabling and they can stand on their own 2 feet and have pride and power in that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because where is the benefit when if you're enabling someone so often, it's only going to harm yourself in the end too, because you
mhm,
have to continue giving them more. But are you trying to tell me to read another question?
mhm.
Okay, cool. All right. So I don't know if I asked this question. It's more of a rave too. We have another question, but I was wondering about the rave. Okay, let's do this. Oh, because I read them off at the end of the last episode, but we didn't address them. Okay, so here's one. I'm going to read it all. Um, Jody said, love, love, love the podcast you are doing with your mom. Real and honest conversations and stories makes my heart smile. And of course, the information is invaluable. I am a chiropractor who has used nutrition and lab work in my practice for over 20 years. Curious what Dr. Anna would recommend for testosterone replacement. Bioidentical, or is there a peptide? I have supplements, but looking for other options to help women and men with testosterone.
Yeah, so it's a really good question. There are a
Thank you,
couple
Jody.
supplements. There's a supplement that Zymogen makes called Testoplex, which can increase testosterone levels. Certainly, maca increases. So I have a for men's sexual health, but also for women. I call it my sexual health triad, but it's Mighty Maca and a product called NO Max, which is an arginine supplement with alpha ketoglutarate to help increase nitric oxide, and then the Testoplex together. So it helps with producing more DHEA, more testosterone, and blood flow circulation. So helps with better orgasm and for men erections. It really does make a difference. So that's one of the things that I recommend. And then when I use testosterone, well, first you always look at if testosterone's low, you need to ask why. So like what's causing it to be low? Is it just our age? Now it's low? Is it that we're not sleeping? Is we're not moving? Is it we're high stress or PTSD? What's going on? You have to address all those reasons. And then when we come to supplement with testosterone, because we want to protect our bones, our brain, our muscle as we age, especially as our bones, well, and everything. But I'm just thinking of bones because I have a 37-year-old in my practice who had early menopause and she had, I made her get a DEXA scan. She's like, what do I need a DEXA scan for? I'm only 37. I'm strong. I fit. I work out. I said, you've had early menopause. Let's get, a bone density. And she had osteoporosis of the lumbar spine, y'all.
Mm.
Osteoporosis of the lumbar spine. So like testosterone is one of the things I can offer her now that's really going to help. So we start often with a bioidentical topical testosterone to use in the vulvovaginal area because it's very well absorbed that way systemically. And then if we need to, testosterone injections, again, bioidentical testosterone injections or troches that dissolve between the cheek and gum or rapid dissolve tablets. There are different ways that we can do it. And also the consideration of testosterone pellets. And so you want to work from both ways. Why is it low? What can we do to fix it? And in this case, with this individual, we're going to be using, um, um, additional peptides to help support her bones and the osteoporosis, and also to try to support rebooting ovarian function. So that's getting into more tech than at this moment. But at some point, if that's of interest, you guys message me and I can talk more about those things.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for your question.
Hmm.
Thank you for answering.
Hmm.
Okay, this is a rave that we're gonna say, and then we're kind of done with our questions for today.
Okay.
So we'll end off with Karen. The conversation with Amira is so helpful. I'm always gonna give myself a shout out. Okay. I
Everyone
need
loves you, Amira.
I
So,
try. Okay.
I love your heart. And I'm
My
biased
heart
because
is
I'm your
overwhelmed.
mama, but it's not just me. See?
You know. Okay. My teeny weeny beanie is like hot up here right now. Okay. The
If you're not
conversation.
watching and just listening, she's wearing a white winter hat.
Oh yeah, I have to play a video at the end, just a 2 second sound. Okay, I need to hear your expertise over and over because there is so much the good things you were, oh my gosh, I can't read properly over and over because there is so much. The good thing is if you are menopausal, wait, the good things if you are a menopausal woman who does not take bioidentical hormones is worth this is worth so much. And then the list for things for adrenal health going through your magic menopause course is teaching me information that makes me cry because if I had known this 35 years ago, I would understand the many health issues I have faced. Yes, I thought too, well, it's just aging. Wow, have you just blown my mind that there is more to this for women?
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
A
Thank
shout
you.
out to
Yeah.
you.
And I would just say, I love our Magic Menopause community, and we're going to be launching that again in March. So definitely be aware and sign up to be on the waiting list for that. And I'll be doing webinars and sending emails. So make sure you're on my email list and join us in Magic Menopause again. I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to it. It's an incredible transformation. We're also having in January, starting our Magic Menopause Coaching Certification
Mm-hmm.
program
Yeah.
designed for health coaches and practitioners. So if that's of interest, please email team@drannakabeca.com. And if you have
To get on the
questions,
wait list. Yep.
if you have questions or want to get on the wait list, just email Amira directly.
Just kidding.
Email Amira Amira at drannakabeca.com. And she will add your questions in. And also, if you're interested in magic and or the coaching certification program, let us know. We'll definitely keep you at the top of the list.
Yeah, of course. And if you even are messaging with our customer service team and you have a question you would like to add to the podcast, just tell them and they will send that over to me as well. Final shout out, and then we'll go for a close. So we have a shout out from Amanda. She says, I am a Christian and I'm so glad you said God and family. I prayed for guidance from God to help me have wisdom, and He has blessed me with finding your channel. You do a fantastic job helping all these women get to where they need to go. So,
Thank you.
like whatever your faith is, and people are looking, you have helped so many women from all around the world and become knowing that, they don't have to suffer. Suffering is optional. And what is your quote? You want to say it
Well,
for us?
menopause is natural and mandatory. Suffering is optional.
Heard it from
Thank you.
her.
Yep. Thank you, Amira, for being on the podcast again and bringing these questions from the community. I appreciate it. I enjoy these episodes so much. So,
I know, me too.
yeah, thank you. And even though you're wearing a really funny
Oh,
hat.
I have to do the sound. Okay, well, while I find the sound, I'm gonna say.
Well, while she's finding that, I'm just gonna say.
Okay, I was gonna say. Okay, so this is mid-January right now. We are focusing on detoxifying and starting a strong 2025. Isn't that wild? We're in 2025. Okay, and to just focus on healing your body, healing your mind, holding on to those strong relationships that help build and grow and increase oxytocin versus increase that cortisol, and set your boundaries for 2025.
Yeah, definitely. Good boundaries, healthy mind, healthy body, setting that morning rituals and evening rituals to get us kickstarted. We hit on a lot of areas today, and I really want to thank you guys for being here, being part of the community. Please send in any questions and comments. Send them directly to Amira at drannakabeca.com or customer service, but definitely subscribe and share these episodes. It makes a big difference for a small business like mine, and I so appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. And Amira, you want to end with a funny video?
Yes, I do. Okay.
The reels, whether I'm in my house or out on the street, I want a hat right now that can bring me the heat. It's a teeny weeny beanie. It's a teeny weeny beanie.
Teeny
It
weeny
don't cover
beanie.
your ears because you still need to hear. It's a teeny.
Okay, that's it. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so good.
All right. So when you
That's
wear
an
your
oxytocin
teeny
moment
weeny
right
beanie in the winter months, just think of that. Think of Amira.
Jimmy Fallon.
There
Okay.
you go. Thank
Peace
you,
and love,
everyone.
everyone.
Thanks for watching another episode of the Girlfriend Doctor podcast. Check out all the links below for more.